Oh, hello, sixth graders. I'm going to cover the answers to the questions as well as what you should highlight from Chapter 10, Lesson 2, Looking Inside Cells. So on the first question they ask you is why do you think staining some parts would be a good or be useful, and I think that brings out the details. This is just mine. What kinds of things would you like to look at, protists? Because I know I would always want to look at something that moves under the microscope, sort of. We get pond water later, but it's sometimes hard to see them. So we highlighted that each kind of cell structure has a different function within the cell. So all of these different parts, we're going to learn them. We're going to learn what they do. The first one they learned was a cell wall. A cell wall is just this rigid outside layer of plant cells that provides protection and structure. Both animal and plant cells have a cell membrane, and they're sort of like the door. They let things that go out that are supposed to go out and things that come in to come in so the plant can use, so the cell can use that. Down here it asks you to color in the cell membrane and then fill in the key, which I did with red, that the cell membrane is the outside part. We can turn the page. Here are some other really nice pictures of different parts of the cell. Let me move this down here. There is the nucleus, which sort of acts like a brain. And we know that we have organs in our bodies, so they start to call all the parts inside the cell organelles. So I answered, what does the nucleus membrane do? The nuclear envelope, very much like the cell membrane, it controls what goes in and out. And a mitochondria produces energy. So what part of your body you think uses a lot of energy? I thought the muscles. There are some parts of a nucleus here, the chromatin, and these are just, this is the material that fill up the nucleus. I'm going to highlight that for you. The nucleosis. Now, this is really getting into some detail with the cell. I think that it's more than the sixth grade needs to know, but I'm not going to test you or ask you on everything. So since you can use your book, make sure you highlight the information I'm telling you. It makes it easier to answer the questions on the review sheet. Here are ribosomes, which are really small grain-like shapes, and they produce the protein that a cell needs. Now there are organelles also that float around in the cell. Now, first, if there's cytoplasm, if you can imagine, like if you've ever made a Jello mold, when you put fruit in it, the cytoplasm would be like the Jello, and all the fruit and stuff would be the different organelles. One of the main parts is the mitochondria. This is its picture here. Often when you see it, you're going to see this. To me, it looks like a letter M in there for some reason. Then there's this huge endoplasmic reticulum with those little ribosomes over there. And this thing just creates all different types of substances that the cell might need. To answer the questions over here, it asks you that the prefix endo is Greek for within, and if the word plasm refers to body, then endoplasmic or endoplasmic would be in the body of the cell. This asks you to color coordinate. It's very much like the little mini poster that I assigned today, and to fill in the key. So I kept the same colors. The nucleus is purple. The nucleosis is that little spot there, which is probably what you can see on microscopes. The cytoplasm is the jelly sort of that fills in the cell. That's the ribosomes I have is green. Mitochondria is red. Ribosomes aren't on your poster though. So this is what they did in class on Thursday, just writing what each of these items do within the cell, and then also realizing that the cell parts, excuse me, that animal cells have everything that plant cells do except a cell wall and chloroplasts. If you can say the word chloroplasts, maybe you can remember the word chlorophyll, and that's what makes a plant green. And you could see that over here, the chloroplasts. They also have this rigid cell wall around this membrane. So I think you could read those, hopefully. The cytoplasm sort of fills the cells up. It supports all the organelles. Lysosomes recycle things, break things down. Mitochondria converts food into energy. Ribosomes, just like you wrote on the other page, makes proteins. The membrane allows things to pass in and out. The Golgi apparatus stores and redistributes. We were joking that looks like the giant Amazon, because very much like the giant Amazon, it boxes up things and redistributes things around the country. So that kind of helps us remember those. The Golgi apparatus is in both, but you didn't have to fill it out over here. So, okay, I'm going to turn the page now. What does the Golgi apparatus do? It packages and redistributes. A vacuole stores food and water. Over here, chloroplasts capture the energy from sunlight. Remember, what are you doing? How are they doing that? That's got to be with photosynthesis. And then the lysosomes kind of break down things into smaller parts. So over here, if you went to an electronics store like Radio Shack, I guess, I don't know really if they even make those anymore. The manager would be the person that directs the activity, like the nucleus. This guard here would be like the cell membrane, allowing people to come in and out. Maybe this delivery driver would be like the Golgi apparatus. He would be packaging and redistributing things. This one is the cell wall. We had some debate about whether this was the mitochondria making fuel, or some people thought it was a vacuole, meaning it was storing the energy. So either one of those are right. Why do you think we took the idea of all of the cells, organelles, and made it into an electronics store? How does that help you understand how a cell works? Well, the cell contains the real small, tiny parts, and it relates it to real life, something that you've had an experience with. Over here, the chloroplasts, I think we did that one, and the lysosomes. So let's answer the assess your understanding questions. Use the table you completed in figure 3 to summarize the difference between a plant cell and an animal cell. As I said when we were on that page, a plant cell has chloroplasts and cell wall, and an animal cell does not. How are the functions of the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus related? I think the ER sort of makes the things, and then the Golgi sort of packages them up and redistributes them. So it's like a factory and Amazon delivering it for them, or UPS. A solar panel collects sunlight and converts it to heat or electrical energy. How is a solar panel similar to chloroplast? Well, they both use sunlight and convert it to energy. And what are cells made up? I wrote all of the organelles have specific jobs, and now I know the different kinds of organelles in a cell. They really don't leave you enough room to write all of them down, and I think that's a bit much to ask. And then the last part here talks about, well, why should we worry about cells? But this is actually us over here. You are a multicellular person, meaning you have more than one cell. There are things that are unicellular, but you are a bunch of cells working together. So let's go down here, and each cell is specialized. Oops, sorry, let me move that down. Is specialized, and they have these specialized cells share what can be called a division of labor. So maybe if you have siblings at home and you take out the trash because somebody else puts the dishes away, it's sort of like that all the time. You could never trade jobs. So if we looked at these pictures down here, these are blood cells. So these are animal cells that can bend and squeeze easily through little narrow spaces. This, because it's green, I think I can see the chloroplasts. These are cells that can make their own food. These look like these little things here, like these would probably go out into the soil and absorb water and minerals. And then these, I believe, look like nerve cells. So they would, animal cells that can relay information. So I think it's 1, 4, 3, 2. Now, when all these cells are working together, a division of labor occurs. Oh my goodness, I forgot the key idea here. In a multicellular organism, cells are organized into tissues, organs, and then organ system. So tissues are just similar cells. Organs are similar, but they have different tissues in them, but they all kind of work together. And then an organ system is a group of organs that work together. So they kind of show you that in a picture here. Here's a single cell, but all the cells might form like muscle tissue or skeletal tissue. Then they can put that together and make an organ. In this case, it would be a lung. And then if it gets put together with a system, maybe your esophagus and your sinuses, to create the respiratory system, and then you get a bunch of systems together and it makes you who you are. So a real life situation like that would be, let's start with the school and break it down maybe into just grade 6, and then just come to our classroom, and then maybe a row or a group, and then you have that student or that specific desk. So there's you, and if I put you in a group and you are performing a specific function to create your group, maybe you guys are all doing a science project. And then if I put you in the classroom, most cells usually are doing the same job, but it is possible that maybe you have another group doing another something that's part of that particular class and grade. Okay, so I highlighted what an organ and that was, and I'm going to answer these questions. What does the term division of labor mean as it is used in this lesson? And I think it's just the shared work of the cell parts of the cell. I'm going to go ahead of the cells, or as they work together to form a tissue. Would a tissue or an organ have more kinds of specialized cells? I think it would be an organ, because an organ is made up of many different types of tissues. And then I just wrote the order as it exists up there at the top, that now the level of organization in a multicellular organism would be cell forming tissue, tissue forming an organ, organ going into a system, and then systems like your excretory, your respiratory, your circulatory, your muscular, all to get together and make you. Okay, so if you have any questions about what I assign, let me know, and I will answer them as quickly as I can. I'm kind of busy on the weekends now because I have somebody that's in the hospital that I have to go see. So I'm a little bit behind, but I'll catch up, I promise. Thank you guys. Have a great Monday.